Was there a period where you realized you thought this kid had something? I mean, there's a lot of great players that come through. What made Sam different?
I think, going back to his youth, he was part of our youth camps, and, his family is very close to us and here in San Clemente, and his mom was actually my master teacher. So we knew about Sam when he was a young age, 7, 8 years old, and you saw him perform, whether it was a soccer camp or basketball camp or football camp. He was just much more athletic than the other kids. Once he got to San Clemente High School his freshman year, he was by far the best player on the field every single week, and we had an opportunity to bring him up to varsity at the end of his freshman year, and he learned a little bit under the wings of our seniors and juniors. And then sophomore year, you really saw that he was a great athlete. He was a really good quarterback. For us at that point in time, we needed an athlete more than a quarterback, and he played wide receiver and linebacker for us. He was first team all league and was an impact player on both sides of the ball.
So whose idea was it to convert him? I mean, when you have somebody shining at those positions, was that you or somebody else that said, "Hey, we got to make this kid a quarterback"?
It just, myself and Troy Kopp, we knew he was the next, big thing coming out of San Clemente High School. We had a senior that kind of, earned that spot. But with Sam, he was right there in the mix. But we looked at it from a coaching staff, like, how's Sam going to throw the ball to Sam? And so we decided to make him an athlete that sophomore year. But at the end of the year, unfortunately, that senior got hurt. And Sam came in and stepped in the last 2 games, took us to a victory the very first game playing the varsity level. I know it was actually went for two to win the game with about 10 seconds left to go in the game. And then you saw glimmers of what he could really do. And that kind of started the conversations about, I think we have a major D1 player in our hands, not just athlete, but also quarterback. And the rest is history.
And what is it? Because you knew the parents before. What is it about the DNA Sam has from his parents that prepared him for a journey that's been, it's been rocky. Obviously, he was a number three pick. He went through a lot of bumps.
Yep, I'm sorry, that's our bell ring. But the big thing for Sam, I think, going back to his family, they kept him well grounded. He's humble. They had both family parents were very athletic. You've heard the stories about his grandfather at USC. I think for them, they kind of did raise him the right way. A lot of kids look, especially nowadays, for likes on Instagram, and they want instant gratification. And Sam always worked through everything he went through, and I think that's what's paid dividends for him in the NFL. And his time at the Jets and his times in Carolina, his time in Minnesota and San Francisco, that's all part of Sam's journey. And I know a lot of media tries to make it out like he's on a revenge tour. And I think for Sam, will tell you that he experienced that for a reason, no different than he experienced being an athlete as a sophomore playing linebacker and playing wide receiver. I think that helped him become a better quarterback as he went through that process, and that's the way Sam looks at it as well.